Come January 22, same-sex couples in Thailand will be able to tie the knot, and that would make it the third place in Asia to allow this after Taiwan and to a more limited extent in Nepal. Now, this obviously a big win for LGBTQ advocates, but beyond that, it could bring an estimated $2 billion annually in tourism revenue to Thailand. This is according to a new report that was commissioned by Agoda. It says some 4 million additional tourists may arrive. That's an increase of about 10%. Yes, those would be people coming to get married or to attend these weddings, but also from the broader LGBT community who would view Thailand more favorably as a safe and welcoming destination. Now, the report looked at other countries to see how their tourism industries changed following legislation, specifically the U.S. and New Zealand. New Zealand passing similar legislation back in 2013. By 2016, it was performing more same-sex weddings for non-locals compared to those who live there. Now, mostly these were people coming from Australia. This trend reversed in 2017 when Australia passed its own same-sex marriage legislation. Now, rainbow tourism, as it's called, estimated to be about $200 billion industry, and one that Thailand is in a particularly good spot to capitalize on because this was in the report, but I like to call it the 4 A's. It checks the box for attractiveness, accessibility. This is in terms of how difficult or easy it is to get into the country from a visa perspective. Also, affordability, and this last prong, a very important one, availability of substitutes. Now, with little competition in the region for rainbow tourism, Thailand stands apart. In fact, I spoke with Timothy Hughes. He's the Vice President of Corporate Development at Agoda, and he said within 5 hours flying of Thailand are more than 3.6 billion people who do not have access to marriage equality. He highlighted India there. We've seen Thailand and India recently opening up and expanding visa agreements. He said this is rather fortuitous for Indian same-sex couples potentially.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting from the tourism perspective, but I'm also reading on the Bangkok Post, the same-sex law is slated to take effect in January, will also create 152,000 full-time equivalent jobs, because I suppose this creates its own sort of mini economy to be able to organise those marriages and weddings and everything that comes with it. We know that's a massive industry, right?
Absolutely. About half of those in the tourism industry itself, which we know the tourism industry in the pandemic shed a lot of jobs. So that's very positive for Thailand's industry. There's another prong, though, here that we haven't talked about, and that is events. Thai government already focusing on hosting World Pride in 2030. Now, we saw Sydney host this last year, netting about $120 million for New South Wales. So yet another economic way that this legislation could affect Thailand.